It's your call with John Penny and Dwayne Long.
How's it going, guys? My name is John Penny.
And I'm Dwayne Long, and we're ready to It's Your Call.
It's your call, buddy.
It's your call.
Well, I'll take a shot. You know, you look a little bit like Bobby Knight with the gray hair and stuff.
Well, take a look. You look like you've been out all night. So I don't know what
you can now turn this radio off if you want. That's Dwayne's funny line for the whole night.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Hey, today it looks like we're going to be talking about some of the greatest quarterbacks of all time.
Okay.
And maybe distinguish who is the greatest quarterback of all time.
Okay. Sounds good to me. I'd like to do this since we studied that for the past week.
Yes, we have. We've been looking things up, and there have been some great players, quarterbacks, just from the very beginning of the football.
But, okay, they say being a quarterback is the toughest job in any sport because you were in charge of 12 people, which is the biggest as far as American sports team at one time, or 11 or 12 people. And I don't know, I think there were running backs that were as great as the quarterbacks. Tight ends, of course, I think. And offense and defense, there's been some great defensive players.
Yeah, things have changed so much in the last 40, 50 years as it relates to the play of the quarterback, but also how the running backs and the wide receivers, tight ends, and the front and the offensive line all play the game.
Right. And back in the old days, I would say quarterbacks ran because they had to run. And that was it. They did not leave that pocket. They stayed back there as much as they could. They didn't run. Nowadays, a guy, 1 second, he doesn't see his wide receiver open, he's gone.
Yeah, and then you've got design plays.
That's right.
The last 5, 6 years, there are design plays for quarterbacks to run because they have the capacity to do that now.
Right. But you don't see those design plays for Brady very much because he got hurt that time. They changed the rules of football.
Yes, they did. They changed it. What was that called? The Brady rule?
I think so, yeah. You can't hit him after which, to me, Wilt Chamberlain, they changed basketball, but they changed basketball to hinder him. They hindered Wilt Chamberlain, wider 3-second lines, no dunking for a while.
Right.
I mean, they hindered him. And they seem to have gone out of their way to make sure Brady didn't ever get hurt the second time.
Well, that's exactly it. When he was injured in the 2008 season, it didn't take long for the NFL to make a change. And they prohibited defenders from
hidden below the knee.
Oh, yeah, from lunging or diving at a quarterback's knees.
I remember a guy jumping over Brady on the ground and actually landing next to him, 15-yard penalty. Yeah. It's like it was close enough for us, hey.
Well, that's just the time it is now. You got to protect the quarterbacks. So.
Yeah.
But we have some great quarterbacks from the past, and I want to mention some of those. There was this gentleman who played back in the 50s by the name of Y.A. Tittle. Some of these folks may not even know who Y.A. Tittle is, but they need to go back and do a little research on how he played the game. One of the things that they say about him, one of the things for sure is that he was the first quarterback ever on the cover of Sports Illustrated.
Really? I didn't know that. That I did not know. I do know that they had a picture of him in Sports Illustrated where he was on his knees in the end zone, blood coming out of his head, and he was pretty much out. Even though he wasn't out cold, he was out. He had really got blasted.
Well, it's one of the things back then, they didn't have the real protective helmet that
No.
they have today. So his helmet was gone.
And they put that stuff on the air. They wanted you to see that. Look at this guy. I mean, he was really hurt.
Because that was the culture of that time period. That it was a good thing to be a tough football player at that time.
You know, the first play I played at Hillcrest High School, I played freshman football. The first play I got in, we scored a touchdown, and we kicked off. And he put me in. Coach Jim Vaughn put me in to tackle the runner.
Great coach.
And I went over there and I jumped on the pile. And a flag goes off. So the only play I ever got to play for Hillcrest, I cost us 15 yards.
Hey, but it got you in the scorebook.
Yeah, that's right. Hey, that's right. John Penny jumped on top of a guy.
But
how about the tuck rule? That was the rule that completely befuddled me.
I think it befuddles people still today. What's a throw and what's a fumble, and or attempted throw and what's a fumble? Probably it's had the single most impact on quarterbacks.
I think the thing that's made the impact is that referees they don't know what call to make sometimes, and they have to come up with something. And then, like in that championship game 3 or 4 years ago, where he had a guy running down the field trying to catch a football, and he got hit for a pass interference. He got touched early. He got hit 5 yards down past the line of scrimmage. I mean, you could call 3 or 4 or 5 different penalties, and they called none.
Yeah, that was in the eyes of the official. Didn't see it.
There was 10 eyes. But it was 10 eyes.
It was a lot of eyes on that particular play. And that was the game between the New Orleans Saints and the Minnesota Vikings.
Was that it?
And there you have another great quarterback in Drew Brees. Yeah. Drew Brees is a great quarterback. Retired last year, finally after probably 18, 19 seasons in football.
Yeah. Drug testing now in baseball, that's takes a long time. Go out there and check the player's uniform, his hat, his fingers, his upper arm.
Well, yeah, now they've got to look at the pitcher's hat every time he comes off the mound, or every time there's a new pitcher comes in, he comes off the mound. They got to check his hat. They got to check his glove. This foreign substance thing with baseball. Well, sometimes baseball's getting out of hand.
I want you to know something. I could not hit a curveball. I really couldn't. I remember one time Don Ships, a famous bass player for Granny's Bathwater, a great ball player. He threw me. He was pitching, and I was playing for Hillcrest and a freshman team. He threw me a ball that actually hit the plate, and he called it a strike 3. The umpire did. Yeah. It had so much spin on it. He called it strike 3. And I looked at Don and I go, tell him that wasn't a strike. Come on. And Don was my friend. He started laughing. But those guys put so much motion on the ball. And this thing, with this spin rate, I cannot even imagine. They say hitting a baseball may be the hardest thing in sports.
Right. Yeah.
So you are trying to hit, and all of a sudden it's got another 100 revolutions on the way to the plate. Yeah, that's wrong.
Yeah, it is, and that's why they've got this new rule that you have to check those pitchers.
Okay, how about this rule? What's a catch in football? What's a catch?
I don't know. What is a catch?
I always thought it's when you had the ball in your hands or your arms and you hit the ground. If you had the ball and had any kind of, had caught the ball at all, I think it should be a catch. Well, even if you fumble the ball.
Well, one of these, and that's the problem. Because with the catch, they try to determine when do you have possession and when you don't have possession of the ball. If you have the possession of the ball, but you hit the ground and the ball goes away, it's not a catch.
Right.
But if they have the ball in the air and you've got it tucked into your stomach, and then you hit the ground, it's considered.
Yeah, they don't consider it a fumble at all, even.
No, no. So it's the catch, when it's a catch, when it's not a catch. We're not, we're really not sure when that is. But
I I would hate to be a wide receiver in football. Now you got the new rules now, which really protect you a lot. I mean, I would love to see Bradshaw and Swan and Stallworth in today's game because they couldn't be touched after 5 yards down the field, and they can't be hit going over the middle. That was what a lot of those guys made a living doing. They would smash the wide receivers.
yeah,
You can't even touch them now.
yeah, that's true. I mean, and you'll get called for an intentional hit, and they'll toss you out of the game.
Right.
If you hit them above the head or the shoulder,
right,
with your helmet. And some of those times, it's not the defender's fault.
No, the guy,
it's the running back or the
he ducks
receiver.
into the tackle.
Yes,
and I'm going, now wait a second, can't you take a look at that up in the stands? You're up there in that box, you have all sorts of different replays of it. You can't tell that the guy ducked his head into it. I mean, I feel bad for the defensive guys a lot.
Oh, me too. I think they get a bad rap. They're just trying to make the tackle the best way they know how. Now, if it's a legitimate helmet to helmet play,
15 yards and put them on the sideline for the rest of the quarter or something like that, whatever you want to do. But man, football is not used to box professionally, and it's a dangerous sport. But football, I mean, every 30 seconds, 45 seconds, you're going to bang heads with people. If you're an offensive lineman or defensive lineman, you're banging heads.
Oh, every time there's a play.
And then the running backs are getting tracked down, and so they can get tackled. And, I mean, it's rough. And then the quarterbacks, they got to watch both ways. They can't just concentrate, well, I'm going to go to the right here. Hey, you better find out what's coming on the left.
Well, that's why it's so important to have a great offensive tackle on the left side of the line, because he's there to protect your blind side.
Well, if it's a right-handed quarterback, yeah.
Yeah, but you have to have a good
yes, you do
right tackle if you're a left-handed quarterback.
That's right.
But and speaking of quarterback, there's another quarterback that played back in the 60s by the name of Fran Tarkenton.
Oh.
Have you ever seen anyone who could escape so many tacklers?
I saw a woman at Walmart the other day.
She could have done it.
Well, I'm telling you, she could turn on a dime. You see a cart coming her way, But no, I people talk about the speed of the quarterbacks nowadays, and it is incredible. But Fran Tarkenton made people miss where it was actually funny. You would almost laugh at him.
It's almost like a blooper. Reel.
Yeah, exactly. That's a great line.
But there was a game in which Fran was playing, and he evaded, had to be at least 17 tacklers, and just got away. Went left, went right, went back to the left, went back to the right, ended up throwing a touchdown pass in the game. And it was a winning touchdown.
Wow.
That was great.
I remember enjoying watching him play. And I was never a Minnesota fan, but I enjoyed watching him play. Just how much fun it was to watch those. And then we're talking about the start of the Steelers empire there, the steel curtain stuff. You had great defensive people. All those guys in the Packers and stuff, they played them twice a year. They still make them miss. Fran will make them miss. And if you get a chance, get online tonight and dial in Fran Tarkenton.
Fran Tarkenton scramblers.
Yeah, there you go.
You'll see about three or 4 minutes of his scrambles that took place when he was playing with the Minnesota Vikings.
Right. Yeah, just fantastic stuff.
And when Fran Tarkenton retired, he owned every record in the National Football League, every major record in the football league. But now you got this guy He's on Fox every Sunday. What's his name? Terry Bradshaw.
There you go.
There, I think that's one of your better players.
That's one of my favorite people of all time. We got to see him here in Springfield give a talk about business.
Yeah.
And he was very funny. And I pushed my way through people to get so I could shake his hand. And I got to shake his hand. Very funny guy. I loved watching when I became a Steelers fan, you and I had been out playing tackle football with a bunch of our friends.
Yeah.
And I came back home and I was really tired and beat up and scratched and everything, and I'm sitting on the chair in the front room. I turn the TV on and they got this guy named Bradshaw gets the snap, goes back 5 yards. The game's almost over. And it was against the Oakland Raiders, who we all hated here.
Yeah.
We hated the Raiders were the dirtiest team I've ever seen in my life. And they went out to do even dirtier stuff the next week. But they came in there, they missed Bradshaw. He ducked down, ran around, and he threw a pass. And the other team, the safety hit the ball with his shoulders and knocked the ball in the air, and Franco Harris was running down there, and he caught the ball, went in for a touchdown.
The immaculate reception.
And I just went crazy, and I was immediately a Steelers fan.
Yeah.
And they got beat the next week, and but that started them on the big 6 and 8 years. So
Yeah.
4 championships in 6 years.
Oh yeah, four trips to the Super Bowl, and
right.
Terry Bradshaw as their quarterback.
Right.
And you know the difference between Terry Bradshaw and the quarterbacks of yesteryear and the quarterbacks of today?
Neither one of them could spell.
Well, but Bradshaw called his own play.
That's right.
You didn't have the little earplug in there and a quarterback coach calling the play.
You were a Cowboy fan. Who was the guy? Big, tall something. They had a nickname for him.
Oh, Too Tall
Jones.
Too Tall Jones. Yeah.
He said said Terry Bradshaw couldn't spell cat if he spotted him the A and the T.
That may be true. He got hit quite a bit.
Hey, he is making money though all the time,
and he's giving away money too.
Oh, he does. But I loved watching baseball, Dwayne. I wanted to be a baseball player more than anything. I just loved the teamwork, the fun. And I remember when Coach Birmingham called me from Hillcrest and told me I was on the freshman team. Man, I had tears in my eyes. I mean, I know that sounds stupid or something, but I was so happy that he had seen that I could play baseball, that he put me on the team. And I never was a regular to start every game, but I played a lot for him. And we were the lowest ranked team, but we were true freshmen playing in the junior varsity league. So we had all freshmen. So, and they took 2 of our best pitchers and put them on the JV team, the sophomores and stuff like that. And it was fun. And they coached Birmingham one time. I was on first base. I had hit a really good ball, and I was on first base, and I wanted to show off for Coach Birmingham. So I got a lead. The guy threw the ball to the plate. I took off running. I got thrown out by inches. I think 72 inches.
72 inches.
Yeah, 7 feet.
Isn't that like 6 feet?
Yeah, 7 feet, I think. 6 feet,
6 feet, yeah.
And, I mean, I was thrown out, and Coach said, "John, what's the score of the game?" I said, "It's 2-1. He goes, "You were on first base. We had another out to give. I would rather you take a chance on this guy getting a big hit than trying to steal the base at that time." And all of a sudden, my brain just opened up, and I'm going like, wow, there's more to this game than I thought. I had never even thought of that.
Why were you still in second base? You have short legs.
I did have short legs. I still do have short legs.
Yes, you do.
I still buy Husky jeans at Sears.
Oh, that'd be good.
20. I went to a place to get my pants hemmed, my jeans, they were cut and hemmed.
Yeah.
And I told this woman, I go, I got 32-inch inseam. She goes, no, you don't. You have 28-inch. I said, 28-inch? You're crazy. I got 28-inch inseam. And she put that tape measure out there, 28-inch, barely 28-inch. So,
Well, you wanted to drag the rest of your pants around. That was your problem there. So, but yeah, there are a lot of great players, a lot of great baseball players, and we can't really discuss who the greatest athlete of all time is because there are so many. And
now, you're talking about the greatest athletes.
yeah,
But
that's what
but
I
see,
said.
people, it's like you're saying, it's not just football or baseball or basketball, the greatest players. It's out of those different sports.
Absolutely, yes.
I mean, golf. What a tough game golf is. It's the most mental game, which is why I never excelled at that game.
Because you have no mind.
No, I love the game. I played it so many times. I love hitting that ball. Man, I love hitting that ball.
You could hit the ball one time, and then you'd have to go try to find it, and then you would hit another ball another time.
That's right. But I don't know, man. I love it. I love golf. I love tennis. I left golf to play tennis, and now I'm playing tennis and pickleball.
Right. Yeah.
Because it's more of an active game, and it gives me a lot better chance being quick still from boxing, quick hands and stuff.
And you don't have to run so far.
Exactly. Well, you don't have to run in golf at all, actually. So, but golf is, it's the most mental game I think there is, and they rarely play in teams,
Right.
unless they're gambling, doing something. But golf. I love watching. I love watching the Masters or not the Masters, the Grand Slam in golf. I love watching those matches.
Yeah, you've got the Masters, you've got the U.S. Open, you've got the British Open, and you got the PGA Championship.
That's it.
Those consist of 4 major.
And all 4
events,
are
Grand
different
Slams.
courses, different grass, different height of grasses. I mean, and they move the game. They move them around. Even like the British Opens in Britain have it. And I just, you remember playing the game, me and you? I mean, it was just.
Oh yeah, we played golf. We'd go out to Shady Acres, Silers. We'd play Payne Stewart when it was just called Grandview.
Right.
I mean, we had some great time playing golf, and we had a lot of fun looking for golf clubs that would end up in the woods.
That was you. That wasn't me.
How
that was
did that
you.
happen? Golf clubs in the woods. I mean,
and then the trees. Yeah, I mean, way up in the trees that one.
I mean, we waited a lot. Waited in water a lot just to get the balls. And we hit in the lake out there at Siler. Yeah. What's interesting about golf here, the last 2 PGA tournaments, there have been sudden death playoff holes. At the Travelers, there was an 8-hole playoff.
8 holes?
8 holes.
Wow.
And then this past Sunday, there was a 5-hole playoff at the Rocket Mortgage Classic in Detroit. And so, and there's been a lot of different winners this year. There have been 9 different major winners.
Well, in tennis, you play 5 sets in the Grand Slams. 5 sets, 3 out of 5.
Yeah.
And they had a match go on for like 6 hours, and people said we can't do that anymore. Just it hurts the advertising and stuff like that. I mean, that's a long time to watch 2 guys play the game. But I love it.
How did they solve that problem?
They are thinking about going to 3 sets, even in the Masters tournaments, or not Masters, the Grand Slams. And I love tennis. I love Rafa Nadal. I love Federer, and I like Djokovic. I like those 3 guys, and I think it's the greatest tennis we've ever had being shown.
Well, I yearn back to those days of Jimmy Connors and
sure.
Patrick Monroe.
That's why you wear your hair like you do.
That's right, I do. And and Chrissy Everett.
Oh, Chrissy
That's a
Everett.
great ball. And Martina, I can't even say her last name.
Navratilova.
Well, I figured you would know it.
Yeah, she very funny. She's a great announcer. A great announcer.
But those are the days I kind of going back to with tennis, because those were
those were wooden racket days, and
yeah.
Well, Jimmy's won the start of the metal rackets pretty much, and T2000. I got 2 or 3 of those.
Oh, well,
Anybody want to buy one?
Yeah, they're on sale today.
today only.
Group.
Well, I go to Jerry Perry.
Yeah,
Jerry. Him and his dad were great tennis players, and Jerry played in a lot of the slams, 2 or 3 of the slams.
Well, he came in second in the U.S. Open.
Really?
Yes, he did.
Wow, I did not know that.
I don't know what year that was, though. Next time we see Jerry, we'll have to.
There's probably dinosaurs roaming the field.
That was probably a wooden racket.
Yeah, I bet that was. But if you ever played, he could. I was with Jerry Perry. Well, I didn't even know who Jerry Perry was, and we were playing I was playing with my friend Jeff Perrier and 2 other guys, and we're playing tennis. And I see this guy looking in this a Cooper's tennis complex. They have these little windows with netting, and you can look through there and see what the guys are doing inside the tennis thing. Well, the tennis court. And I saw this guy looking in there, and I wasn't playing very well. And I said, "Hey, buddy, what are you looking at? Can we do you a favor? Do you want to sit down in here?" And he goes, "Well, I was getting my last for the day watching you hit the ball." And I started laughing. I go, "I like you. You can come in and sit in here." So, and then we got to be friends. And Jerry Perry has helped my tennis more than anybody. So I really enjoy hanging around him. And we were at George's restaurant every morning. We sit there to have the breakfast, and we talk to people, meet people, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, he's a great individual and great talented.
Great storyteller.
In a lot of different areas. Yeah.
When I would play against him, he would just barely hit that ball over the net, like maybe 2 inches, and it would just die. And and I'm not fast. I'm quick. I'm quick moving, and I'm quick with my hands from boxing days. But I can never get those balls he hit. And I mean, I love tennis. I do. I really, it kind of, I've been playing for over 25, 30 years now, and I just love it. When I get a new racket, oh man.
Oh, it makes you happy, doesn't it?
It's like I used to be with a baseball glove. Do you remember rubbing the oil in your baseball glove?
Oh yeah.
And you smell it. You put your nose in there and smell it.
Yeah, and you throw that ball in there and make the ball form around the glove.
Form a pocket. And then you almost sleep with it at night. I slept with mine many a time, which my wife really doesn't appreciate at all.
Yeah, I know.
They don't understand sports at all. You want to sleep with your baseball glove? That's not bad.
So who do you think is actually the greatest quarterback of all time?
Well, you got Brady, who's won 7, I believe, but he's lost 2 or 3.
And if it wasn't for the defense, he would have lost the 4th one.
And that guy catching that ball. Listen, I understand Brady is probably the best quarterback of all time. I just don't care for him.
I cringe when you say that, because I'm not sure he is. I think he is. I think he's the greatest quarterback of all time for this era.
Well, I definitely believe that's true.
The last 15, 20 years. But I think every era has their own great.
Right. They're the greatest.
The greatest quarterback.
Well, I don't know how you can take it away from Bradshaw. He played 4 Super Bowls, won all 4 Super Bowls, MVP twice. Of course, he was on a great team, but all these quarterbacks that win championships are on a team that may not be the greatest, but they're a great team.
Well, a lot of it falls not just on the quarterback, but you've got to have a good offensive line. You've got to have great receivers, a good tight end,
and you've got to stay close. I'd come up with this idea maybe 15 or 20 years ago. We've talked about it at different coffee houses. I believe your team, the defense has got to win by 15 or 20 points 4, 5, 6 times a year because it keeps all the pressure off your team. They have an easy game, and I
Mhm.
believe that's very true. And in the old days when they had the steel curtain and stuff like that, the Steelers, I believe it was 4 games in a row, they didn't allow a point against them.
Right. And so the fact that they had a great defense played a great role in the fact that they were able to win those
It helped the
4
offense.
championships.
Sure, it helped
Yeah.
the offense incredibly. They're not scoring any points. What are we going to need? A field goal?
Yeah, you're getting on the field more opportunities to score if the defense is doing their job.
Right, exactly. And, I'd like to talk about the umpiring, the referee. We're wearing referee shirts for the first time today. And I would call a foul right now just to stretch this thing out a little more. I'm telling you, I'm
Yeah,
dying.
it's
in
been
here.
a few years since
Yeah.
we've been,
Oh, I know.
I think about 20 pounds ago.
Yeah, at least.
Yeah.
And but we refereed well. We refereed 15, 18 games. Well, no, there was 4 games on Saturday. So we refereed 19 games a week when we worked at the boys club. 19 games a week.
We refereed more than that because we refereed 5 games a night. Well, I did.
No, you did. I did
Yeah,
3
you
because
did
I
3.
wouldn't train boxing.
Right.
So I would run up and down the court literally for 3.5 hours, and then I would go to the gym and train
Right.
for 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
And people go, "Well, how'd you get in such good shape?" Well, it wasn't that hard,
Well, when I quit refereeing, that's when I started to get a little bit bigger because I was refereeing. Well, let's see, I had 5 games a night, 5 days a week, and then 4 games on Saturday. So 24.
And
29 games.
we saw some awfully good basketball players. We
Oh.
saw some incredible teams over the years there. That had, one time there's a junior high school very near the boys club, and one time
Pipkin.
I wasn't going to say that because I didn't want to embarrass anybody, but we said that we thought that our boys club team from Pipkin could have beat the basketball team that year.
Oh yeah, yeah, they were just great players, kids from Pipkin and Central, and I mean, I grew up over on the south side, so I had what was then the south side of town. It was Parkview, and you had the Jolly Green Giants.
Yeah, that was a team. That was
Gail Frederick, Virgil Frederick, and several other players for that team.
That was a great. I'm in that Sports Hall of Fame thing over there. And
You're a Hall of Famer.
I thank the people so much for that. But when people talk about that, what was it called? The Green Giants team?
The Jolly Green Giants.
Jolly Green Giants team. Everybody just kind of shakes their head, go, man, that was a basketball team.
Oh, yeah. They went on to win state championship.
Yeah, that was a team, And there's other athletes in Springfield. A lot of it has to do with the coaching. You have to have a good coach. You have to have a man that you can trust and that knows you and stuff like that. Like Coach Vaughn, I didn't get into games. I only weighed 115 pounds. He wasn't going to let me get hurt. Seriously, he wasn't
You
going to
got
let me
a leg that weighs 115 pounds now.
Well,
hey, I'm going to take my opportunities, people.
take the shots, baby.
Take my shot.
But, I had great coaches over there, and St. Agnes had a couple of very good coaches, and I just have always loved sports. I remember watching the Saturday games on TV with Pee Wee Reese and Dizzy Dean, and I would never miss one. My grandma would let us watch that old black and white TV, and we get in and watch that ball game. And I wanted to learn something. And they had I think it was some 76 station, Phillips 76 or something.
I think I've heard of that.
They had one up by where you used to live over there on off of Kearney.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And there was a 76 station there. And they had a bunch of little pamphlet books, maybe 10, 50 pages, but they went from pitcher all the way through to catcher, first base, second base, all the positions. And I walked up to that um, gas station, and I told the guy, "We don't have a car. Can I sweep the floor
Mm-hmm.
so I can get this week's?" And the guy says, "You come in and sweep the floor anytime. I'll give you one." So I wanted to be a baseball player, man. I wanted that, and I just didn't have the talent. I mean, for I was boxing and going to the nationals
Yeah.
and doing real well, but in baseball, the game, I'd have quit everything for baseball. I would have every sport I'd have quit.
Yeah, because I mean, there was a national pastime.
It was back then.
Baseball was, and of course, I remember Dizzy Dean and Pee Wee Reeves and Tony Kubek and
Oh,
Joe Garagiola on the Game of the Weeks, and
Joe Garagiola, St. Louis Cardinal guy. He was the first guy, sports guy, I ever saw going on Johnny Carson's show that was funny.
oh yeah, he was a
Now,
personality.
do you guys or anybody out there? Can you call us or sometime send us a note or something? I believe that's true because Joe Garagiola was funny. I mean, really, he would tell stories about Dizzy Dean. And he said Dizzy Dean one time was on the mound and this batter got up there and he got real close to the plate and he started digging his spikes in there.
Mm-hmm.
And Dizzy walked off the mound and walked toward the kid and said, "Hey, kid, dig deep because that's where they're going to bury you."
Yeah, but Dizzy was a character.
Dizzy would hit some people.
Yeah, he was a character, and gosh, I mean, there were so many great announcers.
Oh.
Harry Carey. I think your Cub.
I loved Harry Carey.
Harry Carey was a great guy.
I love the Cubs because I grew up in Chicago and I came here to Springfield and people would be talking about Ken Boyer and this guy and that guy. And I just love the Cubs. I mean, I never changed that. I very, very loyal. It's like the Steelers. Steelers had 2 bad years in a row. I don't quit them.
Yeah.
I go out and buy me a new sweatshirt. I change their juju,
Oh yeah. Well, see, I grew up a Yankee fan because I loved Mickey Mantle and Roger.
Yeah, I remember that. You
and
also
that home run.
The one team we agreed on in any sport was the Boston Celtics.
Yeah.
We both loved the
Boston was
Celtics. We both we loved that, and I was so short. Dwayne was a pretty good rebounder and decent shot. I just was really quick, so I could steal basketballs from people. But as far as shooting and stuff, never. I was never a great shot.
Well, one of the great rivalries that there was in basketball was the Larry Bird, Magic Johnson.
And that was made.
2 incredible basketball.
Hey, you don't think
classy people?
You don't. Well, Larry was classy for French Lick, Indiana, man. But I mean, it's still when he told that story about Magic coming to Indiana, French Lick, Indiana, and finding where he lived. And Larry's mom came out and grabbed a hold of Magic and gave him a kiss on the cheek and says, "I love watching you. You're my favorite player." Larry Bird said, Larry, "How about me, Mom?"
Larry wasn't too excited about that. But what a great
and they sat out there and they shot basketballs for a couple hours. I mean, the respect they had. And I love, if you want to have fun sometime, get Magic Johnson and Larry Bird highlights on your computer.
Yeah.
And just watch those and you'll laugh. You'll laugh because, I mean, it seems like they were so above most everybody else.
Yeah, and I think you have, they talk about the greatest basketball player of all time. And I think you got to put Larry and Magic in that group, top 5, top 10, somewhere, being great basketball players.
Let me say something about that.
Well, you go right ahead.
They always talk about the top fighter of all time, the best boxer of all time. People say Ali.
Right.
If you took the real top 10 of boxers and they had to fight each other, like now I don't even like Mike Tyson, but Mike Tyson, probably with his power, and when he was in really good shape, had a great trainer and stuff. I think Tyson would get in the top 10. I think Rocky Marciano. I think Jack Dempsey. I think Ali and some of these new guys that are so tall and big and everything like that, they would be in there.
Tyson had a great dentist.
But they all 10 of them would have losses on their record. So but I mean, not even the same guys beating them. It's about, boxing is about styles, so much about styles, about how you fight and what you do. And I'm hoping to have Smitty from the Smitty's Boxing Gym over on Commercial and National on the show with us sometime and talk about boxing. He's very, very smart about that. I met the other day. I met Mike Spinks and the other Spinks, not the one in Egypt, Leon. And Michael Spinks was very funny. He found out that I had been a comedian for years, and he goes, oh man, I'd love to see you. I said, well, set it up sometime. I'll come to St. Louis, And I have a lot of boxing stuff. We're trying to set something up for Las Vegas, actually. But I love the idea of people doing that. I know we can't do it except by computer, but the top 10 fighters to fight each other, I guarantee you they would all suffer losses. It's like football. I don't care if your team is quarterbacked by Brady. He will get beat. He's never gone undefeated in a whole season.
No.
I think he went all the way to the one game and they got beat, the Super Bowl.
Right.
But he got beat.
Right.
I mean, it's hard. It's really hard. I had 42 professional fights. I lost 5. Had some draws in there. But, I mean, it was really hard at times. I don't know. I was going to keep talking.
I think that's a good thing. You do a good job. Keep talking too.
Well, so we got to do what we got to do.
Hey,
But you went through all this stuff. You've got great players in here. You got that Manning, Peyton Manning. I'm not the biggest Manning fan.
I love
Peyton
Manning.
But I know you do. And I tell you, his family, there was nobody nicer. Now, but Bobby Knight was my favorite guy we've ever had at the Boys and Girls Club banquet.
Steak and steak, yeah.
But there's nobody nicer. Well, the kid from Kansas City.
Yeah, Patrick Mahomes.
Patrick Mahomes.
He was a great.
He was great. But Peyton Manning was fantastic. He signed so many kids' T-shirts and things like that. Not even stuff that was his for money.
Oh, yeah.
He signed. He was fantastic.
Well, he's a great personality. He's a great player, and he's a great ambassador for the game of football.
How would you like to be his lawyer? You set up his commercials. I mean, what do you just ask and say, what are you offering? No.
Yeah.
Triple that and we'll talk to you. I mean, he just has that. He's almost a very Johnny Carson-like hesitant and he's just a great pitch man.
Well, he's got this program now called Peyton Places,
Mm-hmm.
where he goes out and interviews former football players and not just football players. He's interviewed comedians and movie stars, things like that, and talk about their sports background.
Peyton, my address is 2624. I will not go the rest of the way. I think that might be against the law.
That might be. Don't give out your home phone number either.
No, I'll give yours.
No, don't give mine.
I'd love to see your wife get about 200 phone calls one day. I would love to see that.
Well, that's okay because we don't answer the phone. You know that from
That's very
previous
true.
experience. But I mean, kind of getting back to the greatest of all time football quarterback. There is Google put out a list of the top 25, and I didn't include the ones that we've talked about, but I mean, they've got like Norm Van Brocklin, Jim Kelly, the Buffalo quarterback.
Great quarterback.
Kurt Warner from St. Louis.
1 year, great quarterback.
1 year, great quarterback.
Well, more than one, but
Steve Young.
How do you not have Steve Young in the top 10?
He got to be.
He broke all of Joe's records.
Yeah, I did. And you got Joe Montana. as well.
Guys, quick wrap it up. I'm sorry. I know I let you guys go over today. Continue.
Hey, how about that?
Just wind.
Are we done?
Well, you're still.
Well, we will
live.
be here in a few minutes.
Well, I want you to know that
Final comments.
we just took everything that we had and had some fun today. And hey, we're going to set up a place where you can call us, and that way it really will be. It's your call. And for myself, I'm having a ball doing this. This is so much fun.
Well, it's a great thing for us because we love sports so much. We grew up playing sports, officiating sports, and it's just a great experience.
Well,
So,
Dwayne and
go-
I are at a certain coffee house in Springfield, and we do that every morning. And we talk sports, and almost everybody in there talks sports and stuff like that. And it's fantastic.
Well, hey, people, it's your call.
No, it's your call.
It's your call.
Oh man, you see that all the
I'm
time.
throwing in
I'm
the
so
towel.
sick of this stuff.